Black people. They provide the tools and resources to encourage conversations and understanding. Thank you, Selena. I'm so looking forward to this, so I don't want to take up any more of your time.
That's fine. Thank you. Okay, I shall present now, and hopefully we will be able to share screens. Okay, hopefully Alison will let me know. Can you see back to the homepage, Alison?
Yes, yeah.
Fantastic, good. Okay, so this is our website. This is our homepage. So you can see on here that we have some testimonies from some of our teachers, and also today's amazing person, which is our living person, and that's very much a movable, changeable feast that we have. So if any of your students have any ideas for amazing people that are around current today, then let us know, and we always kind of have lots of new people in there. So if I could start just by quickly running through, literally won't take too long because I know we're here to talk about the Black Lives, but just to say that we have various information here about the website and about how you can support us. And within our support, this is the only thing I want to show you, because you can look at this in your own time, is just a short video, a short 5-minute video, which will also just tell you about getting the most out of the Amazing People Schools website. So if we could sign in, we're going to sign in as teachers. You've all been given your details to sign in as into Leo Academy Trust. I'm going to sign in with my own details, and your code is capital letters LEO 2020. Okay, I'm going to trust that Alison's going to shout, because I can't see the chat while I'm on screen. So I'm going to rely on Alison to shout out anything if anybody's got any problems. Otherwise, I will just plow on. So this is what we see when we first log in. When we first log in as students, though, and your pupils can sign in individually as well, and we would encourage them to do that, then they sign in and they just get to see the amazing people. So that's where I'm going to start, so you can recognize that that's the experience that they get if they were to log in. So we can find our amazing people by just clicking on amazing people and scrolling down. And if you're specifically looking for Black Lives, then you can go and find the people of Black Lives. But the way that we're going to do it is actually a little bit more focused. So along the yellow bar along the top, you can see the search function. If you could just press onto search. And then within content, we divide up between amazing people, which is amazing people stories, and resources. So if I could ask you to click onto amazing people and then scroll down the screen to the subject where it says Black Lives. So we have amazing people and Black Lives, and then show results. And hopefully this will then bring up all of the characters that we've got on our site that are part of our Black Lives collection. Some of these characters you may have heard of, some of them you may not have heard of. So we have people like Harriet Tubman and Martin Luther King and Mary Seacole, but we also have Queen Nzinga, Abebe Bikila, Fin Malawi, Ransom Kuti from Nigeria. So there may well be characters that you're less familiar with. So the one that I'm going to do is one that probably is more familiar to those. So if you could scroll down the page for me until you find Mary Seacole, and then press go to page. So this is our page on Mary Seacole, and this is what the students would see. So if they went into the top amazing people and they scroll down, they would find Mary Seacole. If they went into search and they typed in Mary Seacole, they would get to Mary Seacole, and we've done it by searching Black Lives. So every character, and we have their birth date and their death date, and then we have just a little sort of, who were they? So she was a nurse and a businesswoman. We have a video, so I'm not going to play the whole video, but if you just press onto watch me, you can see that there's a short video, 3 minutes, and it's just a brief snapshot. It can be a way of introducing a character. It could be something that students could be asked to do before the lesson, or it could be something to do just to sort of kickstart the lesson, really, if you're looking at a particular character.
Selena, just to say,
Yeah.
I haven't got an image of Mary Seacole, and when I've pressed watch me, that hasn't come up, but it might be because I'm in school. There might be something to do with the
Might be.
daughter's hair, yeah.
It might be, yeah. Sometimes there is, yeah. So it's quite easily resolvable. Can you see my screen, Alison?
Yes, and I'm just saying if anyone else
can follow. Yeah, if you can follow on my screen, and then usually it just needs the IT person just to sort of add our website, and then it's sort of plain sailing. So the characters, they can have a video. They also have an audio, so you can listen, and it presses the audio of the story at the bottom. Oh, which I'm not trying to get rid of. Let me get rid of. Oh, goodness me, sorry. Oh my goodness. It won't. I can't get it off. Can you hear that voice? Oh, I'm so sorry.
I can't hear it.
Yeah.
Right, I'm so sorry. I'm going to just go into that website again because it was. Let me just quickly sign in again, and then I'll go back to the site and just. I'm so sorry. It was the button. I don't know why. I'll resolve that. Right, let me go back into. Okay, can you see me? Okay, am I back again?
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. So sorry about that. Right, let me go back into Mary Seacole. So there's an audio. There's also a timeline for every character, and every character also has some key dates. So just to help sort of thinking about who else do we know who was around at that time, what else do we think was happening at that time. It's just a sort of a quick way of a quick reference point really for pupils. We then have the written story, and the written story is written in the first person, which is why the site is as historical people, because we're very much looking at it as a reflection, really, an imagined reflection of their life. When the students have explored the video and the story and the different aspects to it, they also can go and take a quiz. And the answers to the quiz are all in the story. So they might not get a full 5 out of 5 first time round, but if they, the answers are all there. So when they look, and there's nothing obtuse, they're not making any guesswork. The answer will be very clearly written in the story, but they do have to work on the story. So they just circle the answers, and then they submit, and when they get 5 out of 5, then they can move on. If I could just ask you to go back up to the top of the screen, those of you who are on the site, and you can see the avatar in the top right-hand corner. So when the students log in, their avatar doesn't only say my amazing profile, it actually says who do you think's amazing and why. So one of the things that we encourage students to do when they're looking through our stories is to reflect in their own lives about somebody that they think's amazing. So it might be a footballer, it might be Marcus Rashford, for very good reasons, and it might be somebody closer to home for them. I was in one class and one boy said that it was his brother who'd had a motorbike accident, and he was told he couldn't walk, and he'd been very courageous, and he'd persevered, and it was an amazing story that he told us. So the teacher had absolutely no idea at all. It was an incredible sort of thing that just came out just by asking that question, really. But the point is that it's a live document for them, that there's a little paragraph and they can just write a few sentences, and it can change the more they think about character, the more they think about amazing people. So in the little blue circle there where the pen is, if you just click onto that, you can see that we have different coloured little avatars that the pupils can change. When they gain all the right answers to the quiz, they get 5 out of 5. They get an amazing fun fact card, and they also get an avatar wardrobe item for the head and the body. Can you still hear me, Alison? So I've just had a beep through saying, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear me, great. So this is Ada Lovelace's headdress. This is Confucius. There are different things that you can have. This is Harriet Tubman's headscarf, and you can decorate your characters in different ways. Queen and Zinga's and robes, so they can decorate their characters, and that can be quite fun as well. So those are the Black Lives that we can do. So you can have a look through. I'll just quickly show them up again. So as I say, one way of doing it is that you can look through the Black Lives, and you can look through those different people. So we're always looking for suggestions for other characters to add to this library. But we've got different people from different countries and different walks of life. If you go back up to the search bar, and this time under activities, we press Learning Launchpad. And then we scroll down and we press Black Lives and show results. So it might be that you've done a lesson on any of these characters. You've done a lesson on Abebe Bikila, and you've found out about how amazing he was at beating the world marathon record in the Olympics, running barefoot. He was the first person to win the marathon twice running. So an incredible athlete who then had a car crash and was in a wheelchair and continued to compete as a para athlete. So amazing person. So the Learning Launchpad then is a set of questions. It's not really designed for every single question to be answered. You might have some pupils in your class who are interested in thinking about Ethiopia, thinking about the Ethiopian flag, thinking about Ethiopian food, and thinking about questions like that. You might want to set some physical tasks, some physical activities for them to do. But you might also be thinking more about para athletes. What does para stand for? What do we mean? What different events are involved? What was the Stoke Mandeville Games? How did that come about? So all of the all of the Learning Launchpads are all very, very different. Some of them have practical activities. The science ones, the art ones might give you a practical activity. And they will all be differentiated across kind of Key Stage 2, Key Stage 3 for you to extend the learning into those lives. So if we go back to the search function, and this time we're going to go on to additional activities and Black Lives. So our Global Black Achievers resource is a resource that we put together to really try and help support schools who wanted to sort of start thinking about character and also thinking about Black lives and how we sort of brought those together, how we made those character strengths real, if you like. How do we make that conversation about race and Black lives, and how do we link in and use character? And this is our resource to help schools to do that. So we have, as I've shown you, a variety of amazing Black lives, and you could use any of them really. You could literally ask the students to choose one, or you could pick some of them, and they could research those characters. The first character strength that we're asking them to look at is about fairness, and we felt that when we're discussing race and racism, we've got to understand the words, we've got to understand the terms that we're talking about, and by looking at the stories and thinking about the terms, it begins to make more sense. So for example, if we were looking at Harriet Tubman's story, who was an ally in that story, who helped her in that story, and who was not just a bystander, but who was anti-racist in that story as well. It would be good to look at stories and think about privilege. It would be good to think about white privilege. And in some of our stories, it would also be good to think about class privilege. It would also be good to think about gender privilege. But fairness, thinking about the language of fairness around race is a good starting place. And by using real life stories, the words can begin to sort of become more real. We've mentioned we've got a few different people on the website, but this document is also about giving some suggestions of modern day living characters that would also be good for you to do, and historical characters. So these are Black scientists over history and in other areas of life that you could have a look at. They're not on the site, it's just sending you in different directions to have a think about their achievements. We think about collaboration. Not easy to plan a street party in lockdown, but thinking about collaboration in terms of Black Lives, in terms of social movements, in terms of thinking about the organisation and effort that it takes to sort of develop a social movement, and the working together, the collaboration between people across races. And across movements to help do that. So one way to do that is to plan something collaboratively, but with that idea in mind of where it's coming from. Funmilayo Ransome-Kuti, great example of collaboration. She built the largest women's union in Africa. Incredible woman, often slightly overlooked for her son, Fela Kuti, but yeah, incredible story in her own right. Madam C.J. Walker, the first African-American self-made millionaire. There's a Netflix series on her that you may have come across her, but her story is really worthwhile as well. Louis Armstrong, of course, amazing jazz musician. We've also got an idea of different characters that students could look at, and then showing gratitude. Maybe they could write a letter, or they could design a poster or something, identifying what they think was the most important successes and how did they change perceptions of Black achievement. I've mentioned Bebe Bakila, and I've mentioned Mary Seacole. Enthusiasm as well. Carnival is such a joyous celebration of Black culture that we've really got so many examples of across the world. So some students could research different carnivals. You could also have a look at designing some carnival headdresses and introducing different music as well. Soca, reggae, calypso. Can also be a way of bringing, it doesn't all have to be talking about the language and the, there's great joy and enthusiasm as well from bringing Black lives more into the classroom. Queen Nzinga, amazing character. I love her story. She was an Angolan queen who fought against the Portuguese, who were trying to take her people across to America into slavery, and she fought them, and yeah, amazing woman, lived to 81, just an astonishing woman, and this is really about sort of having a look at creating a crown or designing a robe in the sort of Black Panther with that theme going on, really. So this is just a starter document. I very much hope that we'll build on this in the coming year, but it's really just a sort of starting place about thinking about character through Black lives and how we can introduce that into the classroom so it just becomes a regular part of what we do. I'm just going to go back up. So if we could go back up to the search bar again. So the site also has resources that can be used. So it might be that you just, it's not necessarily that you want to make the lesson about Black Lives or Black Lives Matter, but actually you just sort of feel like you want a diverse collection and you want this particular example to be on a Black Lives. So we could press a 10-minute lesson, and we could press Black Lives and then see what we've got. So our 10-minute lessons are designed as a discussion point, really, a prompt for you to sort of get the discussion going within various character strengths. So we might look at the story of Bebe Bakila, which I mentioned, the runner, and how adaptable he needed to become, that he was an athlete, and then suddenly he's in a wheelchair, and how he had to adapt himself to continue to compete. And then we look at, well, what does that mean for us in school? What does adaptability mean for us in school? So all of these lessons are all pretty short, and they're all sort of turn it back onto, what does that mean for us? So if we look at curiosity with Percy Julian, have a little bit of an explanation about who he was, an incredible African-American chemist. And then we look at what do we mean about curiosity for us? What are you curious about, and what's good curiosity, and when does curiosity become unhealthy? What else do we need with curiosity? So they're just starter questions, really, to get you go. But your example could be one of our Black achievers. So again, it doesn't have to be. It just becomes normal. You know what I mean? That you can just start to include Black lives in that way. If we just go back to search, and with this time we go across to lesson on the far side. So these are our full lessons. They are designed as 1 hour lessons, but they can really be adapted to whatever, however long you've got. So if you tick lesson and Black Lives, then you can see all the different character strengths that we've got with the amazing people that we've got. So the lessons come in with two resources, really. We have the lesson plan, which is the PowerPoint that you could use in the classroom if that was useful to you to sort of click through. We also have a teacher's guide. So if I just open up the collaboration lesson plan with Ransom Kuti, we have the differentiated learning objectives. We have a few notes before starting about what do we mean by this subject, where are we going with it, what are we thinking about, and then we have basically your lesson plan. So we have defining collaboration, we have some discussion points, we have discovering the story of the amazing person, and then we have our differentiated activities. You might not want to do all of them in the space. You might want to do some of them. It's for you to sort of pick and choose. And then we have our reflection activities in the end. So all of our lessons follow that same format of having the PowerPoint lesson plan and the teacher's guide to support you in delivering those lessons. And some of them also have worksheets attached as well. So we have Courage with Harriet Tubman. We have Curiosity with Mary Seacole, Enthusiasm, Louis Armstrong, Gratitude, Harriet Tubman. You can get the idea. So some of you may be involved in delivering assemblies, and again, you might just want to, make sure that you're giving examples in your assemblies of Black Lives. So again, same process. You go into the search, you press Assembly, you press Black Lives, and these are the options that we have for you. So we have Creativity with Queen and Nzinga, Empathy with Harriet Tubman, Empathy also with Martin Luther King, and such like. So the thing about the assemblies is that each of them follow a similar pattern. So you have the slides showing the amazing person themselves and who they were, and just sort of giving everybody the basic information about who the character was. We then have an example of the character strength and the amazing person, so that they can begin to see how that character strength sort of existed in action in that person's life. We then have this screen, which is with the green font, which is basically, okay, just pause a minute. The next slide, these are just for you to use or not use as you see fit, really. So the idea is that we've given you lots of examples about how you would talk about creativity in a school assembly, but you could change them. It's only on PowerPoint. You can chop and change them. If there's something specific that your school's been doing with creativity, you could slot a slide in, or you could change them around, or you could use the ones that we've got there for you. It's entirely there for your choice. At the end of all of the assemblies, we've also got a competition, which can be very useful for some schools to really help focus the mind on creativity, or on whichever the given character strength is. So that can be really useful as well. So if we just go back to the search results, then you can see with the blue boxes that we've got, you can view the document, you can download and save the document to your own computer. You can also press My Resources, and if those of you who are online now could just press My Resources, you can add this to your own folder. So you can start creating your own folders for resources that you find interesting, be it a lesson plan, be it a learning launchpad, be it a 10-minute lesson. And you can create a new folder. So I'm going to create a folder saying Queen, and I'm going to add that document to it. So that's that's just a really useful way. You can access the My Resources in the top left-hand part of the screen. It's a quick way then of you going back and finding the resources that particularly work well for you. Okay, so we've looked at the amazing people, and we've looked at the resources that we've got. And the final thing that I just want to show you is our wellbeing workouts that we have. These are being added to as we go through the year, but at the moment we have 2 wellbeing workouts on our Black lives specifically, one on Harriet Tubman and one on Martin Luther King, and Mary C. Cole is being finished this week, so we'll get that out. We'll get that out as soon as we can. So the idea with our wellbeing workouts for our people, if I just open up the Harriet Tubman one, is that we look at the story of Harriet Tubman and we think about the story, and then we think about the different character strengths that she really showed in her life. So we think about motivation, we think about courage, and we give practical examples and ideas about how pupils can develop those in their own lives. So it's very much about getting inspiration from the amazing people, and then thinking about our own lives and how can we develop these character strengths for ourselves. So that's the idea for them. We do have lots of other wellbeing workouts which include Black Lives. So if I go back and I just show you, I'm going to go back to the search function and I'm going to press wellbeing workout and tolerance, for example. And the wellbeing workout with tolerance will have a variety of amazing people. And we'll have a look. So we talk about racial prejudice within here, and we talk about different ways of how we develop our own tolerance. So lots of our wellbeing workouts will include Black Lives, but they're not going to be tagged against Black Lives in the same way. So those are the resources that we've got specifically on Black Lives. I just want to just to make sure that you've got kind of an idea of a few things which aren't specifically Black Lives, but if you'll just sort of bear with me, just because it might come in useful at some other point. If we just looked, for example, within additional activities and we didn't click Black Lives, there are a few other documents on there which I think you might find useful. So one is our character strengths definitions chart. And this might be something that you have in the classroom that just sort of demonstrates what do we mean by courage, resilience, perseverance, what do those words mean? And this is just quite a handy sort of chart to have on hand so that we all know what we're talking about. We know what we mean by humility. We know what we mean by integrity. We also have a document called Introduction to Character. And this can be done at the beginning of, you might want to sort of kickstart using amazing people by starting with the Introduction to Character. And it looks at, who do you think's amazing in the world? Who do you think's amazing in your friends? And why are they amazing? What character strengths are amazing? And then it invites the students to self-reflect and to think through which character strengths they've developed whilst they've been at primary school, or whilst they've, in the past year, whatever you want to do, where they are at there and here and now, which character strengths do they have? And then if you're using it as part of a transition to high school, which is what some schools have done, is they've done it in year 6 and they've been looking towards secondary school, then you could sort of be looking ahead and thinking, what do I need to develop? Well, one thing I haven't been great at is perseverance. I don't really tend to stick at things. Right, okay, let's read some amazing stories about perseverance and look at some ideas about how we can develop our resilience. I also just want to draw attention to, we have an incredible, amazing teacher toolkit of character education ideas. It's about 16 pages long, so we've divided it up also into discussion ideas and activities. And it's really a lots and lots of ideas about bringing character into the classroom in a whole host of different ways, and encouraging debates and active listening and talking and interviewing, a whole range of things. I'd really encourage you to have a look at that as well. And the very final thing I want to show you is across the yellow box at the top, we have our resources. And it's a different way of finding it as opposed to the search. It gets you to exactly the same place, but you could list all our assemblies, you could list all our classroom resources. I just want to quickly tune into the resource bank. This is sort of the behind the scenes stuff that you need to help support you as teachers. So if you want to know, how does this support the curriculum? How does this support SMSC, PSHE, citizenship? How do I get started? I don't know these people. You know, there's an amazing people summary page on there of all the amazing people. There's all the answers to the quiz. There's different documents for different achievements and controversy, different ideas around that, how we chose the character strengths, how you write your own amazing person story. So there's lots of supporting documents there in the resource bank. And again, all of those you can add to your own resources so that they can be much easier to for you to find. I hope that that's given you a bit of a sense both of the website, and also if you're looking to sort of really bring Black Lives and character and Black Lives and race into the classroom, that's given you some insight. And if you've got any questions, I'd be delighted to help answer.
Thank you, Selena. I'm just seeing if there's any questions there. I suppose my question is, we, as Leo Academy Trust schools, do we have access to that, or do we have to pay a subscription?
Yeah. So at the moment, what I mean, we're
Dominic.
Yeah, I was just about to say we all have access, and we all have individual school usernames and everything. And this is like promoting everyone to start actually using it. So we have all of that stuff, which I can send out after this conference.
Thank you, Dominique.
Thank you.
No worries.
Yeah, I think we'll all be starting to use that. Great for Assemblies as well.
Yeah, I hope so.
This and for previous session. Oh, so Chris has just said really informative and useful. He's been to both your sessions, so I think he'll be making use of the content. I've got someone that I need to add to that. Your amazing people, Michael Fuller. He was the first Black Chief Constable in the UK. So
oh yes, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. Oh, believe me, with yeah, we will go on and on, but I will write that name down, and we have a sort of list that we that we constantly add to, and yeah, it's fantastic. I think one of the things that we have, because obviously we can't have everybody, though we always do want to add to, but we try and find more and more ways on the site to find different ways to allow students to kind of go in different directions. So for example, the how to write your own amazing person story, you know, you could say let's look at Michael Fuller, and almost you've got the framework of the idea, but yeah, all names are all great suggestions.
Yeah, so Catherine said that it's really informative and looking forward to incorporating in our curriculum. And that's true. What we're trying to do at all the schools is obviously develop the curriculum further. And although we've got our topics that we've taught previously and need to teach, there's always room for adding new areas and new people into the, you know, the content that you're teaching.
Yeah, and lots of our characters will come up quite naturally in you know, will come up quite naturally in the curriculum. You know, Mary Seacole, Florence Nightingale, Isaac Newton, Marie Curie. You know, they come up anyway. Quite a lot of them, and then some of them come up because you're doing certain countries, and some of them come up because you're doing certain topics. And so, you know, there may be angles in there of different people because you're doing different. Different subjects. So yeah, hopefully you'll find different ways of embedding them in.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, thank you, Selena. I can't see any more questions coming up now. I'm presuming everybody's had a chance to write anything that they need to. I think that it'll be a well-used resource across the schools, and I'm certainly going to promote it within our hub. Thank you.
Well, look, I'm here, and I'm very happy if you know, if you need sort of further support, then please do call on me. The video that I mentioned as well, maybe Dominique, it would be nice if we could send that out to attendees today. It's only 5 minutes. It's basically a condensed form of everything that I've said. but it's quite a nice reference point to be able to, you know, because there's a lot in the site. So I'd be very happy to send that video out to everybody, or it's on the site in the support box on the homepage. So before people have even logged in, if they go to the support page, then they can find the how-to guide, and it's just a reminder really of what they can get. But yeah, no, we're thrilled to be working with you.
Oh, thank you, Selena. And Dominique has said yes, definitely she can do that. So
Brilliant. Excellent.
Okay, thanks, Selena.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Take care. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Alison.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye. Nice to meet you.
Bye. Nice to meet you. Bye-bye.